The 2024 Indianapolis Colts season is officially dead. They have been eliminated from playoff contention after an absolutely embarrassing 45-33 loss to the then 2-13 New York Giants. No matter what happens in Week 18, the Colts will finish with a losing record in 2024. After the previous year being so promising, the Colts regressed again in 2024. As a longtime Colts fan, there absolutely has to be changes made to this team, or else, well, we will repeat this season over again next year. The Colts have been a failing organization for the last 4 years, and this year I believe it will crack. This season has been an absolute slap in the face to fans who finally expected a good year since we finished 9-8 last season with a worse roster and a backup quarterback who couldn't even start on the Raiders this year. There are plenty of problems with this organization and plenty of reasons why they are so mediocre every single season, but I believe it starts with the culture. The Indianapolis Colts have a culture problem. The culture problem is everywhere, from the players to the coaches to the management. And the root of the culture problem is this: the Colts are soft. They are a soft football team. Except for the offensive line, of course, who I give credit to. Had tons of injuries and yet managed to not fall apart in both pass protection and run blocking, and when fully healthy are a great offensive line. Outside of that position group though, and DeForest Buckner, the team is soft. And not just the players, like I said, the coaches and management are also soft. You can see it on the field. The players are not giving full effort every play, and they are being lazy on the field. The defense was jogging the whole game versus the Giants. Clearly, this coaching staff is not holding these players accountable for these actions. It also sends the message that the players just don't want to put it on the line for these coaches in this organization. I mean, it's hard to blame the players too much, as when the team you've played for has been mediocre for so long with minimal change, why even try when the management is so poor and soft to make meaningful changes to the coaching staff and roster to actually try and improve the team? And ironically, the guy who tapped out of a game is probably the most competitive player on our team every down. Obviously, he has an incentive because he's playing for his job, but he easily has the most heart on the team every game. It sucks his career has been derailed by injuries, but he will still have time to prove what he can be. Overall, only a handful of players look like they truly care out there on the field. Anthony Richardson, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, the O-line, Taylor, Buckner, Latu, and maybe you throw in Jalen Jones because he's been very good this year. You look at some of these teams that have elite culture, the Lions, Chiefs, Vikings, Rams. They don't have a handful of players giving it their all. They have everyone on the field going full throttle every single play. Look at the Rams. They started 1-4 with tons of injuries in a competitive division, and not one single player on that team quit. And they won the NFC West outright and are rolling into the playoffs. It's absolutely clear the Colts culture is not good. Players aren't playing hard, the coaching staff is at least partly to blame for the way this season has gone, and management has not put their foot down and made significant changes to this team for too long. The Colts culture is officially broken, and as it stands, they are a truly soft football team. I really don't even know what to say about this defense other than, wow. I knew this defense was bad, but this is honestly worse than I could ever thought it would be. And when I talk about this team being soft, this side of the ball is way more soft than the other. It has been soft all season long, and whatever hope Gus Bradley had of staying in Indy next year was completely destroyed after this game hit zeros. Watching this game was an absolute joke on the defensive side of the ball. The New York Football Giants hung 45 points on this defense's head. The same Giants who were 2-13 and had been dead since the first quarter of Week 1 coming into this game. The same Giants who got embarrassed by the Atlanta Falcons starting a rookie quarterback in his first career start literally a week ago. The same Giants whose only previous wins of this season were a fluke win over the Seahawks due to a blocked field goal and a bad Browns team starting Deshaun Watson. The same Giants whose highest point total on the year was 29 points in that Seahawks game. The same Giants who averaged 14.3 points per game before this game. That's barely 2 touchdowns per game on average. They dropped 6 on Gus Bradley's head. The same Giants whose last 40-point game was 5 seasons ago. The same Giants who were starting their third option at quarterback who had 1 touchdown pass to 4 interceptions coming into the game. He threw for 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and ran for 1 as well. Drew Lock threw his most passing yards since 2020 with over 300. This was the same Giants who hadn't won a single game at home. the entire season. This Giants team was 2-13. This Giants team was dead in the water. They haven't had life since 2 seasons ago on their fluke playoff run. The Colts defense came into the game with playoff hopes on the line. All they had to do was stop that Giants offense. And they got embarrassed. They got destroyed in every single aspect of the game. At least the run defense showed up today and held Tyrone Tracy to 59 rushing yards on 20 carries. Too bad the pass defense decided it was going to let Drew Lock carve them up. This game had actually the worst tackling I've ever seen from a football game. The Colts have had tackling issues all year, but this was truly horrendous tackling on every single play. Malik Neighbors looked like Jesus on the field this game. He absolutely embarrassed his secondary on every single play. They simply had no answers for him after the catch. Drew Lock, of all quarterbacks, who had looked horrible coming into this game, absolutely dissected Gus Bradley's soft, terrible defensive schemes. I really don't know what more can be said about Gus Bradley. Just an absolute moron in every way possible. He has not at all changed his soft zone coverage schemes all season. Even after they consistently get torn up week in, week out, he doesn't change. Cover 3, nearly every single play, barely any pass rush, not a lot of blitzing, just a soft, predictable, idiotic defensive coordinator who should have been fired weeks ago. Gus Bradley is essentially the entire organization confined into a defensive coordinator. Clearly, the players don't want to play for him after seeing the effort on Sunday versus New York. Now, everything on defense is not all on Gus Bradley. The players on defense really just are not all that good. Our linebacking core is just so bad. I don't want to hear anything about Zaire Franklin leading the NFL in tackles. Tackles are a nearly useless stat in every conversation. You know why he's leading the NFL in tackles? Because our defensive line can't stop the run either, and he's so slow to the ball and can't get off blocks he just makes the tackles 5 yards downfield when the running back is already at the second level. And he really doesn't make up for it in pass coverage either. He is not a bright spot in the run defense, he is part of the problem. And for EJ Speed, he's just bad. He makes splash plays every once in a while, but on a down-to-down basis, he is not a good player at all. Most important down of the season, playoffs on the line, 3rd and goal, and he gets absolutely shook by Drew Lock. This linebacking core is easily the most overrated position group by fans on this team. They suck. Accept it. Zaire Franklin should not even sniff the Pro Bowl. As for the defensive line, he's got some players on there, but clearly they still need some more juice. Latu has been rather disappointing, but he's still a rookie and has shown a lot of promise going forward. The secondary was very unlucky to lose Juju Brents after week 1, who can't seem to stay healthy but has been good when he's on the field. Jalen Jones has had a nice season, and he's very much impressed me, so I hope he continues to grow and can become a nice duo with Brents moving forward. The safeties need replacing as well, but we've known this for a while, yet no changes were made. No changes have been made to this defense after seasons of mediocrity and disappointment. After a season of truly putrid run defense and horrible predictable schemes by a moron defensive coordinator, Chris Ballard has yet to make any changes whatsoever. I hate that I have to turn on Chris Ballard. I was a big Ballard fan ever since the beginning. I was on the Ballard train coming into this year after many fans were done with him. I held out hope. I disagreed with the Ballard haters. I thought the haters were stupid to be so against one of the best drafting general managers in the league. And the haters were 100% correct. Honestly, great call by the haters. Ballard's philosophy of we like our guys and building through the draft has officially fallen through. I was still hoping that this draft and year could finally push this team over the edge, and yet, it didn't. While yes, he does do a good job of drafting, Ballard is too afraid to make changes. He simply has too much trust in the people he put in charge to turn things around. Well, it might be hard for these coaches to turn things around when Ballard doesn't go and get them players in free agency to work with. Instead, he gives them inexperienced rookies or younger former backups who are on the team that the coaches now have to try and develop when there was nothing there. Now, I still think Gus Bradley sucks at his job, but Ballard does him no favors by throwing him a bad linebacker core, Nick Cross and Julian Blackmon in the secondary. What is really annoying about Ballard is people can see clear as day what the weaknesses are on this team. Secondary, linebacker, tight end, yet he does absolutely nothing to fix anything. Instead, he, you guessed it, likes his guys. Well, Ballard, your guys on defense single-handedly ended your season versus the worst team in football. Your guys on offense consistently left your young developing quarterback high and dry with constant drops and low effort on the perimeter. Your guys on the coaching staff have lost the players' motivation and are constantly hurting the team with horrible schemes and questionable play calls. Your guys for the past years have done nothing special to show this team has promise moving forward. Your guys are about to get you fired and ran out of town. So, Chris Ballard, I ask, do you still like your guys?